Tailor Tales, Chapter 19. Gray is gonna cook for us. Lovely. I hum quietly to myself as I straighten the cushions on the couch, fluffing them up until I'm happy with how they're sitting. Tonight is the first time Gray is coming over since we've slept together, and I don't know quite why. I don't quite know why, but my stomach feels full of butterflies. I tell myself it's normal in this situation. Things are so new between us. Especially since he found out the truth of who I really am. The nerves will ease eventually. I've just put on some music when there's a knock on the door, and I take a deep breath as I head over to open it. He's early, but I don't mind. In fact, I'm excited to see him. We love an early gentleman. We love that. All my friends, always late. Me, always early. I'm always early to a function, just because, anxiety of the parking situation, anxiety of making sure that restaurant has not burned down or something. Making sure that thing is there. Surprise! Oh no. I'm taken aback when I swing the door open to find not Gray, but Sarah grinning back at me. What are you doing here? I frown only now, noticing Jed standing behind her. He gives me a small wave, and by the look on his face, I'm guessing he's been dragged into all this by my crazy best friend. If that's your version of a warm welcome, I'd hate to see how you greet Gray when he shows up. Sarah tells as she pushes her way inside. You said Gray was cooking tonight, she elaborates, and now that the two of you are all loved up, what could be better than a double date? Sarah, this is not the time for a double date. This is supposed to be a solo thing. We're not official. Okay, we're not. Okay, okay. I have been clarified. I point out smothering a smile of my own, and Gray is cooking dinner for me, not the entire neighborhood. Come on, aren't you happy we stopped by? I sigh at her as she plops down onto the sofa, messing up the cushions I've just straightened and fluffed. I'm always happy to see Sarah, but she knew that Gray and I had plans tonight. Still, it's nice to see that I'm not the only one who's excited about my new relationship with him. If I can call it that. I'm sorry, I told her to ask you instead of just showing up like this, Jet says as the two of us watch her from the doorway. It's fine, the more the merrier. That would have been preferable. I kinda wish she wasn't here. I was hoping it was just us thing. But she's here. It's fine. The more the merrier, I assure him with a smile. It's not like this is anything out of the ordinary. I'm used to Sarah coming over whenever she feels like it. Just because I'm seeing Gray doesn't mean I should expect her to stop anytime soon. Although we might have to set some boundaries to avoid any uncomfortable situations in the future. Are you sure? Jed asks again. 100%. Now come in and make yourself comfortable, I say as I wave him through the door. You guys are already here. I can't just kick you out now. Your girlfriend certainly has. We glance at Sarah, already happily settled on the couch while she flips through her phone and laughs quietly. Here, we brought this. Jed holds up the bottle of wine he's carrying. I thought it might soften the blow a bit. Oh, Jed, you're such a gentleman. He's so sweet. He's so sweet. That definitely helps. I grin in return as I take the bottle and set it aside. I think she just really wanted to check up on you after last night. Make sure everything's okay, Jed admits, which has me softening a little more. Jed is handsome. Jed is handsome. If he was a potential, would have went for Jed. Gray's nice too. Gray's nice. As you can see, I'm perfectly fine. I say loud enough for Sarah to overhear. This must appease her because I swear I see her shoulders dropping really as she sinks down further into the couch. So what's for dinner? She tosses her phone aside as Jed heads over to join her. No idea. You'll have to ask Gray when he gets here, I start to say. Another knock on the door distracts me from the two of them. If it's not Gray this time, I'm going to be seriously perplexed. Pulling the door open, I thankfully find him standing there, a shopping bag in hand. I smile at him in relief. I hope you don't mind, but you'll be cooking for 4, I say in greeting, letting him pass through before shutting the door. Gray chuckles softly as he enters, letting me take one of the bags from his hand while he shakes his head to others. I should have known you two would sneak your way into our date night, he jokes. You're lucky I bought extra. See, it all worked out in the end, Sarah declares. I feel like Gray had a suspicion and just prepared. I sigh at her, though she only gives me a triumphant smile in return, and Gray and I head to the kitchen. Not gonna lie, every time I see this kitchen, all I can think about is Dimitri. Sorry about that. They just showed up without warning. I start putting the bag I'm holding down on the kitchen counter. Gray follows suit, putting his bag before wrapping his arms around my waist and pulling me closer. So, are we dating? I just need you to tell me that I'm your girlfriend. That's all. I inhale a scent and relax into him. All of a sudden, the fact that we have 2 unexpected dinner guests doesn't seem to matter as much anymore. Funny how he has that effect on me. I would have liked to have you to myself, but I've got plenty of time for that. Gray teases as he leans in, catching my lips with his. His touch floods my body with warmth, and for a moment I wish we were alone, and that we could forget all about dinner and move straight on to other things. He kisses me slow and deep for long enough that when we break apart, my head is spinning, my feet trying to remember how to stay flat on the ground. So what's on the menu tonight? I ask, and I intend to bring myself back down to earth. I can think of one thing I like to... Greg, please! Let's be serious here! He curls as he dives into my neck, kissing me all over. Let's be serious here, sir, for one moment. Please. Please. Gray, remember we're not alone. I giggle and attempt to swat him away. He chuckles and pecks me on the tip of my nose before turning back to the shopping bags. Relax, I'm cooking pasta carbonara? He winks. It's an old family recipe. Oh, okay. My face lights up in delight. If there's one thing I love to eat, it's pasta. Do you want any help? I ask as I step beside him, watching him pull out ingredients for the meal. You could pour the wine, he suggests. With a nod, I grab a few wine glasses from the cupboard, reaching for the bottle that Grace unpacks from the shopping bags. I pour a generous amount in 2 of the glasses, heading out to hand them over to Sarah and Jed. When I return to the kitchen, I fill up the other 2 for Gray and I. Thanks, Grace says as he takes the glass I hand to him. You have a large pot? He asks, glancing around the kitchen. Yeah, just in the cupboard down there. I point in the direction of the pots and pans. I lean back against the counter and sip on my wine, watching him work. There's something sexy about watching a man cook, especially one as hot as Gray. What are you smiling at? He asks me after a while. I shake my head and chuckle lightly. It's just funny, I would never have imagined the Phantom standing in my kitchen cooking me dinner. Well, I never would have imagined wanting to do half the things to Aroma that I've done to you, but here we are, he says wickedly. I blush, thinking of just last night down in the basement, of his hands all over me, the way he made my body feel. I've thought about it a lot today. Are you sure there's nothing else I can help with? I asked before I let myself get carried away. Positive, he says with a little laugh. I'm supposed to be cooking for you, remember? Go and relax. I do a double take at that. As someone who's used to doing everything myself, it feels a little strange to leave it Gray to do the work while I go and put my feet up. But it looks like he's the boss, at least for tonight. Okay. Heading back to the living room, I find Sarah and Jed chatting happily, the radio humming quietly in the background. Kicked him square in the chest and had him spread out flat on his back. The guy had to be at least 5 times her size, Sarah is saying to Jed, using her hands to elaborate her story. That's impressive, Jed says in return, his arms draped across the back of the couch in a picture of relaxation. What are you talking about? I ask curiously, sipping on my wine as I hover nearby. I was just telling Jed about the kickboxing competition you used to enter during school, Sarah explains. And how epic you were, she adds with a grin. My best friend is so cute. I love her description. Sure, I was pretty good at kickboxing back in the day, but I was nothing special. Huh? You don't train anymore, Jed turns his head to ask. Not since school, I answer, thinking back on those days at the gym. Jed nods. Why did you stop, if you don't mind me asking? It was my mom's idea for me to start taking classes for self-defense, I explain. By the time I finished school, I had other things on my mind, like opening the boutique, for instance. That explains how you could hold your own against the Riversiders last night. Jed muses before he turns to Sarah. So what about you? Where did you learn how to fight? He teases her. Sarah raises her fist, pretending to take a fighter stance against him. Michiko showed me a few tricks, and the rest I picked up on my own, she says playfully. We weren't good little girls staying home to do our homeworks during high school, you know. We were out in the streets, defending our turf. She boasts. Don't I know it, Jed snorts. Despite the outrageous hairstyle you had back then, that's the first thing I noticed about you. Hey, it was popular at the time, thank you very much. Sarah defends herself. Back me up here, Michiko. I think it suited you, I say with a smile at my friend. See, thank you for confirming what I already knew, Sarah gloats. We'd spend some more time talking about high school and the trouble we used to get ourselves into, and by the time I return to the check-up on Gray, I'm feeling more than a little nostalgic. I don't hear this music this much. This chipper one. Then when I enter the kitchen, the first thing that hits me is the smell. Cheese, bacon, and fresh herbs. My stomach starts to grumble as I inhale deeply, imagining how much better it's going to taste. It smells really good, I say dreamily, hovering around the stove. Gray chuckles. It's almost ready. Do you have some pasta bowls? Pasta bowls? Like specifically? Boy, I have plates and bowls, and I use them for everything. Nothing is specific to anything. I grab a few large bowls and some cutlery, and then refill our wine glasses while Gray is serving up. Pasta bowl. Are those like the thinner ones, I'm assuming? Not like the tall ones? We take everything out on the dining table and order Jed and Sarah to sit down and tuck in. Looks like you've got yourself a keeper, Michiko. Sarah teases as she takes a seat across from me, her wide eyes taking in the spread Gray has cooked up. If only you could lend Jed some of your cooking skills, she sighs. Hey, my cooking's not that bad, Jed protests. Sarah smirks as she leans towards me, a single eyebrow arched in amusement. He made me spaghetti and meatballs when we first started dating. The pasta was half cooked, and the meatballs had lumps of flour in them. Why did your meatballs have flour in them? What? It's a thought that counts. It is, genuinely. Yes, it is. Jed pouts, earning a kiss on the cheek from Sarah. I smile at them both. I'm glad that they decided to show up, even if I was hesitant at first. Sarah offers me a slice of the crusty bread she's just cut into, and when our eyes meet, our lips tilting into twin smiles, I know exactly what she's thinking. Not in a million years will we have ever thought that we'd be sitting at a dinner table with the leader of the Decapple gang and his best friend. 10 years ago, even a month ago, the thought would have been absurd. Yet here we are, and I can't remember a time when I was happier. I eye the food in front of me and breathe it in, ready to get stuck in. Everything looks amazing. As predicted, the first mouthful has me sighing contentment. It's really good. I'll take that as a sign that you like it, Gray grins. It's amazing, I say wistfully. We all finish our meals together, chatting, laughing, and drinking the entire time. We've thoroughly cleared our plates. Sarah and Jed head to the kitchen to do the washing up, while Gray and I move to the couch together. My head is buzzing from the wine. After finishing both the bottles Gray and Jed had brought over, we had dug out another one from my kitchen. Despite that, I'm feeling so full and content that nothing could be more perfect than this moment right now. Gray sits close while I curl my legs up on the couch and get comfortable. He still smells good. He always smells good. And the scent only makes my head spin more. After speaking so much about high school with Sarah and Jed earlier, it made me think of Gray and what had happened to him back then. Jed hadn't said much about it, but it seems like now is a good time as any to bring it up. What happened after you got arrested that night, back at school? You just disappeared, I asked slowly, wondering if Gray will talk to me about such things. He stays quiet for a moment as though thinking it through. I left town, went to stay with some relatives outside the city and worked their business for a bit, he explains. I took a pretty low blow when I was expelled, but spending some time away from everything was good for me. You didn't miss it? The city? I ask. Sure, I miss certain things, Jed most of all, he grins. So how did you end up working with Ivan? I continue. I assume the two of you hated each other back then. I ran into Ivan soon after I returned to the city. I was tired of all the fighting by then. Had no interest in returning to all of that, so we started working together instead, Gray continues. In the middle, we were running a small betting ring, taking a cut of the profits. Soon more and more people were coming to us, winning in on the action. We figured we had a pretty good thing going, but we also had the means to make it even better. One thing led to another, and poker became our thing. I found this place by accident. It was abandoned at the time, he says. You never wanted to do anything else, find a different kind of job. I ask, aware that I'm asking too many questions, but still curious nonetheless. You mean a job that's not illegal? He chuckles. Maybe, although I'm not sure what skills I'd have on offer besides the one I picked up while working with Ivan, he adds. I don't know, you seem like a capable businessman. Maybe you'll think of something along those lines, I suggest. He smiles at the thought but says nothing more on the topic. What about you? What did you do after the academy? He asked after a few moments. I was totally fixated on opening my own boutique, I say. I studied fashion and learned a little about the business side of things. When my grandma passed away, she left me a small inheritance. That was enough to help get this place set up. I gestured below me to the boutique a level below us. So you're living your dream? Gray asks. Yeah, I am, I say with a smile. I'm happy for you, he says genuinely, taking my hand in his. I'm so jealous of Girly. I'm so jealous to be happy and be like, yeah, I'm living my dream. Goals. That is so goals. My breath catches in my throat when he leans forward, his gaze flicking towards my lips as he lifts a hand to my face. When he kisses me, I melt, letting my eyelids flutter close as I lose myself in him. Alright, lovebirds, we're out of here, Sarah interrupts as she walks us back into the living room. Gray and I pull apart abruptly, an equally guilty smile plastered on both of our faces. Thanks for having us, Jet says as I walk them to the door. Food was great as usual, he adds with a wink at Gray. After saying goodnight to the two of them and seeing them out the door, the atmosphere in the room changes. Now, finally, Gray and I are alone, and for the first time since our escapade down in the basement. Gray seems to be thinking much the same thing. Taking me by the hand, he leads me back towards the couch where we sit together, even closer this time. thank you for tonight. Dinner was delicious. I speak first, feeling those familiar butterflies flutter back into my stomach. Well, I had to impress you somehow, just in case last night didn't do the trick. Great jokes. You'll impress me more when I know we're dating. I bite down on my lip as I giggle. I think at this point he can consider me thoroughly impressed. I went to my doctor's to get tested today, by the way. I'm just waiting on the results, I tell him. I thought it might be a good idea for when I'm ready to go further with you. I mean, if we're planning... What? Wait, what? I mean, if we're planning on keeping this going, I add quickly, feeling my face go warm at the assumption. I was planning on doing the same thing. It seems like we're on the same page. Getting tested? For like... this... What? Am I getting birth control, or are you just getting tested that he's not like... got HIV? I don't know. Gray grins as he leans in closer. What do you say tonight? I whisper before his lips meet mine, seeing them tilt in amusement. I'll stay, Gray says, his breath warm my skin, but don't go getting any wild ideas. Why not? I asked, feeling hazy from both his scent and that lingering effects of the wine I'd drunken. Oh, we get another CG? He looks like a different man here. Gray brushes a few strands of hair from my face, his touch sending a shiver straight through me. He cups the side of my face, his thumb running over my lower lip, while his eyes lock mine in place. Because it's getting late. Oh, goddamn. And when I fuck you again, I want to take my time with you, he says quietly seductively. Or quietly seductive. And I need you to be level-headed enough to appreciate every single drop of pleasure I'm going to give you, he adds with a small smirk. You should get some sleep before you have to get up for work, he murmurs. What if I don't want to sleep? I ask, my breath catching when his gaze drops to my mouth. He pushes his thumb into my mouth and I close my lips around it. Oh my god. Sucking gently and teasing the tip with my tongue. Okay. A soft growl escapes him, coming from somewhere deep in his chest. You make it incredibly hard to be good, he whispers, his voice coming out hoarse. And all I'm hearing is that I make you incredibly hard, I tease him with a knowing look. That too, he grins and adjusts the way he's sitting, confirming my point. Pushing myself up from the couch, I sink to my knees in front of him, the smile on my face nothing short of sinful. There are plenty of other ways I can think of to have fun, I say wickedly. Girl. Things quickly turn steamy between us, heating up the temperatures that have me burning all over and gasping for air. I prove to Gray that, while he may be the one in control, I know a few tricks of my own that can have him unraveling at the seams. Afterwards, I happily do as Gray orders, and the two of us head to bed for some much-needed rest. I fall asleep in his arms, lulled into dreams by his familiar scent and the safety that I feel whenever I'm with him. Who would have thought that my old rival, the one who threatened so much of my existence back in high school, would now be the one that I'm falling for? After closing up the store the next day, I head down to the basement in search of Gray. I find him there alone, wiping down the table in the middle of the room and rearranging the chairs. Hey, he looks up as I enter, giving me a smile. Hi, I hesitate in the doorway for a moment. Why are you looking at me like that? He smirks, cocking his head to the side. I blow out of breath, hesitating for a moment. There's something I've been thinking about all day, but I'm not sure how he'll react to it. I was wondering if I could sit in on the game tonight, I say, biting the bullet. You know, a real game this time, just to check it all out. Are you sure you want to do that? He asks, his eyebrows dipping in the middle. Yes, I assure him. Thinks for a moment before giving a sharp nod of his head. Alright, come on in, he says. I let out a relieved breath as I head into the room, jumping straight into helping Gray get everything ready for the night. A short while later, the first of the players start to arrive, and soon enough the room is full of them. Hey guys, most of you will remember me, Chico, Gray announces as we take a seat at the table together. I recognize Jed, of course, and a few other familiar faces from the Dragon Den game. Now that I know it was all an act, I feel a bit silly for having fallen for it all, but I put on a brave face nonetheless. Alright, one of the guys says as a recognition dawns on his face, here for another game of Dungeon Den? Jed gives him a solid nudge on the shoulder. It's Dragon Den, you nitwit, and if that's what we were pretending to play, you would have already spoiled it. He gives me an apologetic smile, one that I have a little trouble reciprocating, as I'm still feeling like a bit of an idiot. It's alright, I know everything, I say, giving Gray a look. Gray told me what really goes on down here. Before I even finish my sentence, and every pair of eyes in the room snaps towards the door behind me. Did he now? And I suppose next he'll be wanting to cut you into the business as well. Ivan, you're such a buzzkill, Ivan. A deep voice booms from the doorway, and I don't have to turn to know that Ivan has just arrived.
Oh.
Although I have to admit, you'd make a pretty cute barmaid. Fetch me a drink, will you, sweetheart? Excuse me? I blurred out, dumbfounded by his rudeness. Cut it out, Ivan. Gray tenses beside me, his expression grim. You're perfectly capable of getting your own drink. Ivan snorts as I finally look at him. Well, since you've banned alcohol on the premises, remind me of my options. Milk or juice box, is that it? Or soda. Soda's a thing. Jed stands abruptly, his chair screeching along the floor as he does so. Ivan is a large man, intimidating enough, but he's got nothing on Jed when he's angry. Are you playing or what? Jed asks Ivan flatly. Ivan chuckles out loud as he rounds the table and finds a seat, looking nothing short of smug. Relax, everyone's so tense in here tonight, he croons. Let's just get started, Gray says coldly as he shuffles a little closer to me. Gray gets the game started and I watch as he deals out the cards and everyone makes their bets using little plastic chips that they've purchased with real money. I sit back and try to keep from distracting the players, knowing that I'm simply here to observe. One person in particular, however, is making that extremely difficult. I can feel Ivan's eyes on me the entire time, and even when I catch him staring at me, he doesn't look away. Cause he doesn't give a fuck. He simply smiles that unnerving smile of his, the one that leaves me unsure it's what he's up to or what he could be planning. I do my best to ignore him, focusing on the game in front of me instead. So what do you think? Gray whispers in my ear after the first round. I watch him take back the cards from the table and shuffle them between his hands with ease. It seems similar enough to what we played the other night, just with more cards, I observe. Gray nods. Pretty much, although more cards also mean more ways to win. He deals out the cards between the players with impressive speed. It's obvious that he has plenty of experience as a dealer. You also have to know how to read people, he adds. Like I told you the other night during our game, some people are easier to read than others. I suddenly blush when I think about how the game had ended and how the two of us ended up having sex right on top of this table. Luckily, we cleaned it well, but I'd be mortified if any of the guys ever found out. The next round commences, and the longer I watch the game in front of me, the more I have trouble trying to understand what is so bad about it. I understand that the illegal part of it is the money that is put into and won for the games, but it doesn't seem so bad to me. This round ends quickly, and the winner takes his earnings, getting ready for the next hand. From what I have gathered in the past, these games can sometimes run until the early hours of the morning, although Gray has always made sure they didn't keep me from getting any sleep. So, Michiko, what are you going to play with us? Jed asked, drawing my attention to him. Jed, what money? I am just now getting successful business. You got to pay for a seat at this table, or are we changing up the rules for every pretty girl who walks in here? Ivan interrupts from across the table, his fist clenched into a ball as he glares at us. He doesn't seem happy with the thought of me playing, and even though I have no desire to throw my money away on gambling, I can't help but to press his buttons. I might be interested. What's the cost to play? I inquire, giving Ivan a pointed look and watching his scowl deepen. Absolutely not, Gray says firmly, his tone low and dangerous. Gray, I was just kidding. It's not funny. He cuts me off with a growl as he deals the cards out to the others. Alright. I understand Gray doesn't want me in this dark lifestyle. I sit back in my seat, startled by his reaction. It's rare that I hear Gray take that kind of tone with anyone. Tension hangs in the air, and I notice how the other players shift in their seats uncomfortably, all but Ivan, who sits back in his seat, grinning smugly. The atmosphere in the room has changed considerably. I'm not sure that this is the best place for me to be right now, stuck between the two former leaders of my rival gangs. I should probably go. I speak after a moment, standing quickly and brushing the wrinkles from my clothes. I've seen enough of the game to know how I feel about it, and now it seems best if I leave before things get even worse between Ivan and Gray. Sweet dreams, Aroma. Ivan waggles his fingers at me, his trademark grin creeping back onto his face. Nice try, Novak. I already know about all that, Gray sees, clearly unimpressed by the other man's display. Oh, all of it? Ivan asked sweetly. Yes, all of it. I say between gritted teeth, feeling the bitterness of the lie linger in my mouth. Ivan makes a gesture to signal his mouth is shut, before sitting back in his chair. I turn to Gray, taking note of the set of his shoulders, the tightness in his jaw. Good night then, I say, earning barely more than a nod in response. What is going on between us? Are we together or not? The rest of the table bids me goodnight as I leave the basement, and I hear them getting into the next round when I shut the door behind me. As I climbed the stairs to my home, I can't help but think that I said something wrong back there. That Gray was just mad at me, was just as mad at me as he was at Ivan. I understand that Gray probably wants me to keep out of any trouble associated with their poker games in case it jeopardizes my business, but I also feel that it's a little late for that. Just knowing that these games are taking place down in the basement is enough to implicate me. And if anyone cares to investigate, my name will be thrown into the mix as the owner of this building. I suddenly feel uncomfortable. It's too late for that. We already know too much. Well, you know too much, you're fucked over. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. I don't know. I know a lot of you have said that Gray is your favorite route, but personally, it's not really up there for me. I don't even know where he stands for me, actually. Because, I was really hyped for this. Because, enemies to lovers is my favorite trope. But this, I don't really care too much. To be honest, I don't really care for him too much. But, Dimitri will always have my heart. I don't think anyone can beat him. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys next one.